Next on TCM, People Will Talk. Then The Scarlet Empress. And later, Cry of the City. Noir Alley's the talk of the town tonight.
Not going to pretend like this is not a big deal for me. I'm sitting next to Deborah Winger. Deborah, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
3-time Academy Award Best Actress nominee, Deborah Winger. Just want to point that out. Knows a thing or two about delivering a memorable performance. Deborah's programmed a double feature, part of our 2-for-1 series. We're going to get to The Scarlet Empress with Marlene Dietrich in a bit, but we're going to begin with a film made by my great uncle, Joe Mankiewicz, People Will Talk, 1951. People Will Talk came on the heels of Joe winning back-to-back Best Screenplay and Best Director Oscars for A Letter to Three Wives and All About Eve. So you were seeing here a movie made by, at the time, probably, along with John Ford, the most powerful filmmaker in the business. He could make any movie he wanted to, and he makes this one, People Will Talk.
Which makes it all the more special, I think.
That's right. Yeah,
and it's imbued with that confidence.
People Will Talk is the story of Cary Grant. He's a doctor, and he's not a doctor like the others. He wants to treat the whole mind, body, the soul, and he has an early patient, Jean Crane, a young woman who finds herself pregnant, and significantly for 1951, pregnant and unmarried. And to Dr. Pretorius, that's Cary Grant's name, that is not a circumstance which he is concerned with, except, and I think significantly, he doesn't ignore it. He knows that it puts her in a difficult situation, but he offers zero judgment.
And the side stories are so wild.
Yeah, there's a character played by Finley Curry who's sort of Cary Grant's
guardian
attaché, his guardian. And he's a mysterious character.
Yes.
And becomes a big part of the story. And his relationship with Walter Slasak, who's another professor at this
Would
medical
we
school.
see this film made today?
Oh, my goodness, no. Maybe as a series, right, of this sort of radical doctor. I mean, it's sort of House, you know, a little, maybe.
Yeah.
Sort of you know, an unconventional doctor doing things his way. But he's still Cary Grant, and he's still entirely disarming and consistently charming. And I think Jean Crane is very strong.
What about the father, who just has that amazing scene where he says, I've failed at everything I've done. I'm a loser. I can't make money. I'm a dependent.
Yeah, Sidney Blackburn plays Jean Crane's father. He's wonderful in his sort of acceptance that he thought he was going to be something great, like Dr. Pretorius, someone bold and great, and it didn't work out.
The beauty of that, for me, was that it makes her story absolutely, it kind of rectifies her story. Because at first you think it's sick. You know, she has a terrible father. If she can't tell her father...
Tell him the truth, right.
He'll be but then when you hear his predicament and how honest he is and how loving he is towards her, it's all okay. It's
because her decision is she's doing this because she wants to protect her father.
Yes, it's just humans.
He's had too many blows in his life. I can't add this blow to him. And Cary Grant intervenes and becomes Cary Grant. There's a lot of course, he knows best because he's the doctor and she's just a young woman. But that said, for 1951, pretty forward thinking, I think.
But what comes across is his absolute kind of respect for women.
That's what I mean. Yeah, he's doing it, but he's got complete respect for her.
Yeah.
He's really looking out.
She's damaged by something, and he senses that.
Yeah, and it's almost as if he recognizes the time that she is living in and what the pressures will be in being a woman with an unwanted or unexpected pregnancy in early 1950, and accepts that and then tries to help her. Like, you know.
But also so incredible, the direction, and I do believe it's direction, although I think Cary Grant had charm to spare.
Have you any idea why you fainted? Have you ever fainted before? How do you feel?
Silly.
I think you better tell a doctor about this. There may be a reason. Can you get up now? Good. Perhaps you better go somewhere and relax. You go with her. And, you know, if you insist upon studying anatomy, I suggest you do not sit on the aisle.
And, by the way, the character's name is Deborah, so by no small, you know, whatever, hearing Cary Grant say, oh, but Deborah, I love you, was okay for me.
Yeah, that works.
But the layers in this film, which are kind of subtle, they could be so cliche, but that he actually falls in love with her and that it's really believable is, you know, because it could have fallen into such a trap, but it's lovely that it doesn't.
Yeah, let's watch the film and then more afterwards with Deborah Winger. From 1951, written and directed by Joe Mankiewicz, Cary Grant, Gene Crane, Walter Slezak. People Will Talk. Back with Deborah Winger. Deborah, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Deborah's a 3-time Best Actress nominee. One of the movies I just saw, Terms of Endearment, it remains as crushing and inspirational a movie I think as perhaps ever seen. It continues to deliver in the same way it always has. Shirley MacLaine's great. She won the Best Actress Oscar.
I'm going to call her and tell her you said that.
Jack Nicholson is Jack Nicholson, but it is anchored by your performance as Emma. So People Will Talk, the conducting scene at the end, which I found to be only there in its length because Joe Mankiewicz was the most powerful filmmaker in Hollywood.
Really? That's so funny because you're watching it from a completely different
Yeah.
perspective than me, but yeah.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm
No.
just saying that it was striking in its length. It was longer than I think probably anyone.
So as a producer, you would have said, you know,
I would have been
let's
curious.
trim it up a little.
No, I'm sure I would have done what everybody did with Joe, which is let him do what he wanted. I mean, he's the filmmaker. He may know best. But the conducting and orchestra part, it was a peculiar mechanism to establish Grant's free expression to the extent that that's what it was. I don't even know. I'm going to
Well, you remember the cutaway to Hume Cronin.
To me, to some extent, Hume Cronin was the studio bosses, and Cary Grant is Joe, being able to do whatever the hell he wants, right?
Yes,
and you can't. But there is, because it's Cary Grant, there is this unbelievable joy in him. And that's to me what saves it, because I don't know that I've ever seen Cary Grant smile that much for that long.
God, he was having a blast. I've never seen him more relaxed. I'm not like a diehard, got to see everything Cary Grant does. I think he was an authentic original. There's just, you know, and that is the reason a lot of people don't care for him. Oh, he always sounds the same. He doesn't play characters. But, you know, I like actors for what they are, not what they should be. I mean, there are incredible actors that disappear into their roles, and there are actors that you kind of just want to see that person, you know, in different clothes. And I think Cary Grant was one. But I feel because he seemed so happy and not tense, that he was expressing a side of that Cary Grant character that hadn't been expressed very often, or the combination, I should say. Maybe all those aspects had been in one film or another, but this seemed to bring them all together.
And so many great actors, you know, played some version of the same, you know, it's not.
What he does is impossibly difficult.
And also, that's the other thing is that, okay, great, if it was so easy, then how come literally no one else could do it as well?
No, the timing and so the orchestra scene for me is a little aria inside of this opera where he's just so deft, and the friendship, which is essential to the story, his friendship with Walter Slezak and then with his guardian angel.
Finley Curry,
So those were such strong through lines in the movie, these male friendships.
Yeah, we mentioned that Joe managed to write this deftly enough so that the board allowed us to root for a character who had a child out of wedlock. She goes to great, rather difficult to believe lengths to say that she believed she was in love
She tries to kill herself.
with him. And then, of course, and the other one is that she tried to kill herself. Which
Gosh,
would
you
also,
have to have a lot of trigger warnings on this, I guess.
That's right, yeah. But that stayed in. And they, you know, and that again was, you know, the great Ernst Lubitsch used to figure out ways to get past the Hollywood censors, and Joe had a way of managing it as well.
Well, thank goodness my other choice is before the Hays Code, right? So
That's right, the Scarlet Empress, right, when they didn't have to worry about any of that stuff. Deborah, thanks very much.
Thank you.
And The Scarlet Empress is the next film Deborah and I will be presenting tonight. Directed by Joseph von Sternberg, starring Marlene Dietrich. It is next on Turner Classic Movies.
Next on TCM, The Scarlet Empress, then Cry of the City, and later Crossing Delancey. Head downtown to TCM tonight.